Hi, Cohort B and Cohort R. Happy Monday, September 14th. In journalism today, we're going to be doing an activity that's an extension of what we did on Friday last week. If you recall, last Friday, we took a look at what exactly makes a story newsworthy. And if you refer back to Friday's presentation that's attached here with news values, you remember that we talked about several elements that we can see in stories that do go higher on the home pages and the headlines in publications. I like to always add that disclaimer and remind you of it that anything can be news, but not everything is newsworthy. But we want to kind of look at possible stories through this lens so that we, as student journalists, can not only be smarter consumers of news and understand maybe some of the behind the scenes, but also use that to think about the stories that we cover this year as a publication. Today, well, on Friday, what you guys did is you looked at a couple in a Google form that we had, and I asked you to analyze some professional examples of stories and the news values that were present. If you remember, there's a bunch you can pick from, and arguably you can say almost any of them are timely because the stories run on the days they're covered. But I wanted you to pick like maybe the top two strongest news values in it, or maybe the top three. Sometimes you only find that there's one present. And I think like an example of that was, keeping up with the Kardashians was ending. One could argue that it certainly involves prominence. The Kardashians are famous people. Therefore, what happens to them tends to make headlines. And one could argue it was timely because they just announced it when Entertainment Tonight ran that story. And thirdly, you could maybe argue conflict, but you're thinking a little bit outside the box. People watch that show because of the drama. So maybe you could make a case there. Today, instead of looking at professional examples, I wanted to seize the opportunity to show you what other high school publications do. And I wanted the excuse to be for looking at them today to look at the news values in some of the stories that you take a look at. So if I click on the document I have outlined for you, everybody's going to get a copy of this and you're going to type in this document. I wanted to convert it to something else, but I had hyperlinks in here I wanted to keep active. So our objective, you're going to analyze some award-winning high school online publications and select one story from their site for the presence of those news values that we discussed. If you need a reminder or a list here, I hyperlinked this document, which you can click on. And here is at a glance a reminder of the elements we discussed in class on Friday. Ultimately, through looking at this, I want you to get inspired and I want you to practice looking for news values. So let's take a look at your directions. Go away. It says visit the following top high school news websites in the country. When they're in blue, that means if you click on them, it's going to bring the website. I want you to spend at least 5 minutes on each. Look beyond the homepage, okay? And I'll illustrate that with an example real quick. You're going to select one story that, they had covered, and you're like, this is awesome. This is well done. I'm impressed by this. You're going to copy and paste the headline and the link in the spots provided in the table below. It could be a video segment, like a short news story, a photo gallery, an article, some kind of random feature piece where maybe they interviewed a bunch of people and just featured their picture and like a quote. Could be an infographic, which is when you use graphic design to present information in a cool image. I want you to explain what was really good about that piece in your opinion in 2 sentences. And I want to add the disclaimer, like if you think the story topic is cool, that's great. But what was effective about how that story was told or presented? That's what I want you to start thinking about. And then lastly, as an extension of our focus on Friday or last week, I want you to think about what news values are present in that particular story. And you can just bullet to and explain how it was in there. And so you're kind of modeling what we did with this activity only with student press examples. And I just kind of want to know what you thought was cool. So I have set out the highlight, which is at a Carmel High School in Indiana, East Side and Cherry Hill, Oh, that's Cherry Hill East, not West. My bad. Um, the Pali Boys out of Palo Alto, California. Ella Stoke from Monte Vista High School, California. And lastly, I want you to take a look at the Devil's Advocate site again. You'll click on the link, click around on the multiple tabs, and find a piece. Show me a piece you really liked, what you liked about it, maybe what, and then what news values were present. And when I say go beyond the home page, if I click on the highlights sites for you to see. So this, when you look up here, these are all the sections their site offers. They have like a series, 15 Minutes of Fame, things called Just a Minute. They must have a print publication too because they have an online only tab, their perspectives. I want you to look around at all of these. Don't just look on like the main homepage because you're going to miss out on some cool stuff that's going on. Like they're doing a piece on like the latest quarantine activities. Very timely. Ooh, they must have used like an Adobe Spark or Canva, which is something I'm going to show you guys this year. Looks, they're a lot easier to build than they look. Um, you know, lots of different things. All that to say, student section, you can see what they do there. Looks like they do humans of CRS Carmel High School. We have humans at Hamilton High School. So take a look at all the tabs. Don't just look at one and just look on the front and pick the top thing because you just want to get the assignment done. Again, the goal is to not just get you to practice looking for the news values and pieces, but also to show you what award-winning programs from these are high school kids, and it's crazy cool what they do. You guys will turn this in by the end of the day, and what will happen in class tomorrow is now that we've talked about news values, what we'll talk about on Tuesday is that's the wrong date completely too. What we will talk about on Tuesday is the roles of the press. That the press, as an entity or institution, does have some responsibilities to the community it serves, and we're going to review those too. Okay? I think that's all for now. Bye.